Hello everyone, this tutorial is about using Google Forms and Microsoft Forms to create quizzes that you can assign to your students that are auto-graded and will save you some time and are fairly convenient to use. So the first thing you want to do is head over to forms.google.com or alternately you can also go to Google Drive. In your Google Drive you can click New, hover down to Forms, and then you want to make sure that you click on the From a Template. So if we click on From a Template, we're going to end up at this screen here, and you can see there are a lot of different templates that you can use, but we're going to focus on a blank quiz. So if you click blank quiz, you will end up here. And the first thing you really need to do, make sure that you name this is, I'm going to call this like sample quiz 2. This is one thing, otherwise all of your quizzes are going to be named blank quiz. So make sure you name it up here, and then here you can also name it sample quiz 2. So there are a few quirks of this that you always need to be careful of. You can put in a description, this is a test over unit 2 or whatever you need to do. Right here you can just write in your questions, sample question, and we've got, this is a short answer, but I want to make sure it's multiple choice, paragraph, checkbox, there's all sorts of things that you can do. But the easiest, obviously, for our purposes here is multiple choice. Sample 1, sample 2, sample 3. So you've got a lot of options here. And this one thing that's really important that you always do, sample 3, there we go, is that your answer key here. So just because you've written a question, if you want it to be auto-graded, it's very important that you set an answer key. So I'm going to put sample 1, and then I'm also going to check to make sure that it is worth 1 point. So there's two things that you always need to do in a Google quiz. Is 1, set the points, how many points is it worth, and 2, make sure you go to the answer key. So your default sample place, you write the question, then you need to go to answer key. Now, for purposes of speed here, I've already created one that has a few more questions on it, and I've made some modifications on it. So right here we have what is the weather today? I just have a sample question. I'm actually going to delete this right now to show you how I got that question in there. But the good thing about this is Google has a lot of tools that can help you make questions a little more streamlined. So one of the things that we're going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click on this question. I'm going to click add. And so in this case, if I go over to my assessment generator, so this is something that you guys created in class the other day, I can go ahead and copy my question. I can't upload a CSV, but I can copy a question, put that in, and then instead of having to manually type all the answers, I can just highlight my answers, copy it, and then paste those in. I want to make this multiple choice answer, and then just paste those in. And now it's really important, as I said before, you always need to go to the answer key. Dr. Evil works for number 2, paste it in there, or say 1 point. I can go back to edit question. You can see here that this is a longer paragraph, so you can have essay questions. Now when I went to the answer key, you can see that I've made this worth 5 points. So that is a very helpful thing. Down here, another question I've added is a file upload. So you can change, you can actually have students upload a file if they've created something as part of the quiz. Now you can see that this form and this form look quite a bit different. So this is sort of the default purple form when you start one, but you can make some very simple changes by going to this little customized theme over here, and you can see I've got this book theme. If I want to change that, I can go down and say, oh, I want a different school theme. I want this kind of paintbrush one. I can select that, and that will change my background theme. I can also kind of change the color scheme, and I can change my font style to a number of different things. I don't really like the basic. I don't like the font on it, so I always change it to formal. And then I'm good to go. Now, there's a lot of ways that I can get this out to students. One is if I click send, I can obviously send it directly to students. I can get a link for it, and this link is something I can also send to students or post somewhere. I could also embed it on my website. Apparently, because it's got a file upload, I'm not able to do that. If I take that question off, then I'd be able to do that. But I can also just click preview if you want to see what it looks like from a student perspective. This is what it looks like for students. Now, one of the cool things is if you're using Google Classroom and you create a form, it's really great because you just go to create, you go to assignment. If you want to create one from scratch, you can just go quiz assignment and you'll start from scratch, or you can just go here, one that you've already created. You can click sample quiz 2. And actually, before I do that, though, I want to add one more question because I forgot to show you a brand new feature that Google has on here. So let's say that you've got a bunch of quizzes that you've already created. Well, if you go here, this is a new feature that Google had. You can actually import questions from previous quizzes. So I'm going to go to this one right here. That is the I'm going to go to the class 3 quiz. I'm going to select, and you'll see over here on the right, these are all the questions that I had in this class 3 quiz. So I'm going to go with this standard deviations question, and I'm going to import that question. It's one of my favorite questions. And you'll see down here, it puts it down at the bottom. I've now got this new question that says, if you're a few standard deviations away from the mean, would you be lonely or have lots of friends? Explain. I've made that worth 2 points, and now we're good to go. So that auto saves on everything like that. And I can see that my quiz is now worth 11 points. So I go back to Google Classroom here. I'm going to assign that quiz, the sample quiz 2, or quiz 1. I guess your sample quiz 1. What one is this called here? Oh, it was sample quiz 1 that I made the adjustments to. There we go. I click add. I'm not going to put a topic on this one, but I'm just going to assign it. And now that's assigned to my students. So if my students are in Google Classroom, they just go over to Google Classroom, and then I can refresh this, and I'll see that right here in my feed, I've got sample quiz 2. I click on it, and now I can take that quiz. The weather today, I'm going to say it's sunny, even though it's cloudy out. The 16th president is Abraham Lincoln. Color is red, even though there could be multiple options. George Washington, Dr. Evil, meaning of life. I'm just going to put in a test answer and test 2. I submit it, and now I'm done. So now I can view my score. The problem is I don't have some of these. So I got that one wrong, I can see, and these have not been evaluated yet. So I can see, a student can see, oh, my teacher hasn't evaluated that, so that's not my final score. So, but I come back over here to my teacher portal, and I can see that now I've got 3 responses to this. And I can kind of see what people are doing. I can go to individual responses, and I can see how one person did. And then another person, I can kind of just keep clicking through, see how the next person did, see how the next person did. And then I can also go down and start rating their essays. So here's my last one that I just took. So what's the meaning of life? Test, hey, good job, 5 out of 5 on that one. This is like a file upload. And then, hey, let's say I got 1 out of 2 on that one. So I save that. And those students' scores are ready to go. So if I click this Google spreadsheet, it's going to open up a Google spreadsheet. And so that one student got 3 out of 9, one student got 3. So these students had the pre-modified quiz. But this is the one I'm looking at. So I can see my student scores, and it's very helpful. Now, how do you do this on Microsoft Forms? Pretty much the same thing. If you start at Office 365, you click on Forms, you'll get to a screen that looks like this. And you're just going to select New Quiz. And when you select a new quiz, you can just give it a name, add new questions. So I went ahead and made a similar thing. So here we've got the 16th president, we've got there. If I want to add in a new question, I can make it a text-based question. I can make it a rating. You've also got ones that like a Likert scale. You can add in sections. Some nice things you can do. But let's just say I want to do that. I can go back to my assessment generator, put in who does number 2 work for, and then put in my options here. Copy. Oops. Copy, come on over and paste. And then now I got an extra option too. I'm going to delete that, but this is what I like about Microsoft Forms is it's not like a separate screen that you got to click to input answers. You just check there, and there's your correct answer. You're ready to go. So now the cool thing here is on my theme, just like on a Google form, I can change my theme. I can make it kind of like a fun computery theme. I can share that out. Similarly, there's my link to copy. I can assign it here. It looks like to a team, get a QR code. I can embed it. Lots of different things that you can do. But I'm just going to go to preview, and I can answer. And I can see I've already answered this once, but 16th President Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Dr. Evil. Submit. And now I go back here, and I can see I've got now 1 new response ratio. Yep. So there's a response. There we go. And I've got an average score of 2. There we go. Looking good on that. So that's how you do a Microsoft form test or a Google form test. And that is all. Have a wonderful day.